First tonight at 6, the State Department of Education released its new proposed standards for social studies teaching across Oklahoma. It's a process that happens once every 6 years in our state.
The standards would impact lessons in K through 12 classrooms. 2 News Oklahoma Steph Manchin dug into the proposal and listened to a former social studies teacher about the changes.
State Superintendent Ryan Walters calling these some of the strongest standards in the country, with emphasis on pro-American exceptionalism and the history of the Bible. This announcement coming months after Walters shared plans to do a complete overhaul of the subject matter. Big changes could include a closer focus on the Bible, but also on monumental civil rights issues in our state's history. I spent some time going through the 179-page document, but wanted to hear from someone who's lived by these recommendations before. State Representative and former social studies teacher John Waldron says things could have gone much worse.
We figured it might be they might do a comprehensive overhaul of the system in ways that might raise questions. It's not that bad, and they kept most of the work that local educators did to recommend standards.
But that doesn't mean the former Tulsa Public Schools teacher doesn't have concerns. Some areas that have raised alarm for Waldron focus on the youngest students.
Sometimes I think we're asking an awful lot of students, like practice critical reading skills and cite sources for kids who are in pre-kindergarten. That might be a stretch.
As for religion, Waldron says he couldn't have done his job in the classroom without talking about it, but only focusing on one perspective, he says, is hurting Oklahoma's students.
I always felt it was my job to help students understand, not to prescribe that the world has to look this way, but to understand the world in all its complexities. We can do that in our schools from pre-K through 12th grade. But if we're teaching them in a narrow view, then they're going to come out of their public schools confused, maybe even a little angry and resentful that the world doesn't match up with what they've been taught.
Waldron says Walters brought in out-of-state perspectives that may not necessarily align with Oklahoma's values. OSDE is welcoming public comment on the new standards through January 21st. Pending their own approval, the State Department will then submit their proposed standards to the state legislature. Reporting in Tulsa, Steph Manchin, 2 News, Oklahoma.